N1mm Logger Plus. What the heck is it? Well, we can just read this right here. It's one that's used by, I would guess, more than 50% of the de-expeditions. Other programs have become less supported than N1mm, or less popular certainly. You can set up your de-expedition, you can set up your contest program very easily. It runs on all of the Windows platform. It does not run on Linux, does not run on Apple. And what is it? It's a contest logging program. It's not a regular logging program like you would log your contest for Logbook of the World. It's only for contests. You can use it for regular logging, but it's not really recommended. That's not what it's designed for. And the best of all, of course, it's free, free, free. Everything is free. There's a Yahoo group reflector that's well supported. You ask a question, you don't get a bunch of smart answers. Smart aleck answers. You get good, valid information, and you can work out whatever your problem is, and it's all over the world. You get questions from France and questions from countries that the guys really don't speak English well, and the translation's not good, and they still get good, valid answers. It's a I guess you'd say it's a segmented program where different people are responsible for different segments of the program. So somebody might be in charge of QSO parties. So he runs that whole area. Somebody's in charge of, let's say, the RSGB contests. So they follow up with all the rules. There are links to all the rules. Just about everything you'd want dealing with a contest is included with this program. And as I said, it's not a general logging program like the DX Lab Suite, which I know is real popular, N3FJP, which is popular, lots and lots of other ones. And all you have to do to get a log from N1mm Plus over to your regular logging program, you export an ADIF file. And if you don't know, an ADIF file is just it's an amateur data interface file. It was created for the amateur community, and it has lots of different fields which cover everything that you've done on a particular contact in your contest. And it puts this in a particular format, and then you can just import that into your regular logging program seamlessly. Really, really works well. So I've been using it for about 10 years. I started out using it because it was free. I didn't want to spend, at the time, I think it was $65 for write log, and now it's down to $30, but that's for 12 months. So you have to
Really?
Yeah. But you have to keep re-upping, at least according to write log.
Wow.
Now, the N1mm was introduced in 2014. Before, they had one called N1mm, and they now refer that to as the classic version. It operated on a Microsoft Access database. All the features that were in N1mm Classic were carried over to Plus, and they were all enhanced dramatically in N1mm Plus. It is a much superior program to N1mm. A number of people are still asking questions regarding N1mm Classic, and it's always pointed out that it's not supported anymore. They'll answer a serious question, but if you're asking a contest-related question, why doesn't such and such contest score accurately? Well, it's because it hasn't been updated in a year, because it's not being supported that way. The N1mm Plus is supported like every day. You can see it covers everything from the big contest to CQ Worldwide, down to state QSO parties. A lot of contests you've never heard of before are included in N1mm Plus. It's really great, and if you want to have your own contest, you can create it. The user-defined contests, and there are a bunch of them, again, contests you may never have heard of, You may never participate, but it's all available to you. So, basically, you need an interface for CW and for RIDI to interface between your computer and your radio. For sideband, not important. You can just key the mic and type it in and you're all set. You can also use PSK 31, 64, whatever. It works on N1mm. It logs the program because there are PSK 31 and PSK 128 contests. I've done some of them. It's a hoot. And it works just fine in N1mm Plus. Also, it keeps tracking your score, so you know how many cues have I made? What's my score? A lot of times, I don't care about the score. I want to know how many contacts have I made. 10, 15, 150, 1,000? I don't know. This keeps it a running log all the time. Plus, you have a rate meter, so you can see how long it's been between the current QSO and the former QSO, how many minutes have passed since you made a contact. You can tell how your contacts this year matched your contacts you made in the same contest last year. It's kind of interesting. So you can set goals for the system will set up goals for you. All you have to do is pick up the contest name and the date from last year that you want to match it to, and you just enter that information and it will automatically provide a little graphic interface that shows how you are doing this year versus last year. I'll show you the N1mm band map. It'll tell you where the multipliers are, what bands they're on, whether they're single, whether they're double multipliers. Sometimes you get an extra multiplier for a continent. And there are, 8 continents? So you might get 8 extra multipliers there. The first one in Europe, it would count as a double. First one in South America. So those might be colored green. Once you work that first guy, well, the green just disappears for South America. But it knows where all these cues are. Okay, so how do you set it up? First thing to do would probably be to watch a video. The N1mm instructional guys has set up 14 videos. Now they were initially set up for the basic N1mm program, the classic program. And I don't think they've really been updated, but it'll give you an idea of how to set it up. But initially, the initial setup from one program, well, for the classic versus plus, is very much the same. So let's go ahead and set it up and go down the program. And it'll put this little icon on your screen. I want to stop this right here briefly. Stop.
Hit the pause button in the middle.
Yeah, there is no pause.
Yeah, it's there.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay, so what happens is this comes up on your, will come up in your screen. The first thing you do is when you launch the program, it's going to say, oh, I've detected another N1mm database on your PC. Do you want to convert this database? You want to answer yes to that. Because this way, you can use N1mm Plus to look back at your former contacts. If you don't do that part, there'll be 2 completely separate databases, and you really can't import these goals that I was talking about earlier. So once you do that, you've downloaded from N1mm.com, there are 2 pieces you need to download. One is called the full installer, which is the basic program, and then another one is called the latest updates. So you run one, install one, you install the second one, and then you get the icon on your desktop, and you click on that and it will run the program. The first thing it comes up with is the station information. Now, Tom Wagner is the guy that actually designed N1mm. Well, you're not Tom Wagner. So you want to change this to fill in all the information, according to your station. Now this is real important because when you create a Cabrillo log to send in to the contest organizer, it will take all the information that you put here and put it into the proper fields in that log. Also, as you can see, he put his grid square in here, his CQ zone, ITU zone, and so on. Well, we're in zone 4 for CQ. ITU zone, we are in zone 8. So all you have to do is, would just be to change the grid square to your current grid square, EM61 or whatever it happens to be. Now you say, well, why is that important? Because this will then feed both bearing information and distance information from your QTH to whatever station you're going to try to contact. So we'll go ahead and play this thing maybe. And he's going through right now, and again the ARRL section is important too, because particularly in a QSO party, if we're in Illinois and it's a Florida QSO party, it'll say, it will verify that we are entering this as a non-Florida station, and it'll score it appropriately. So we're just going to zip right on through this. Okay, this window right here is the main window that you'll be working with to start with. Wait a minute. Stop it. Go back. Okay, we're going to stop. There we go. Okay. And he's going to move out of this thing in a second. And there, he's talking about the ARRL section, your club. Also, the club name is important. Put in Metro DX Club, please. And that would also enter into the Brillo file that you export when you complete your contest. Okay, this is your main logging window. That'll come up. And there are a bunch of different things, bunch of different fields on here, different windows you can open, your configuration, and so on. And he's just going to run through these real quick. And you can see down at the bottom, the bearing information would appear down at the bottom. That's based upon the information that you had in the initial, in that initial setup screen. These are the different windows that'll be open. We'll open those in a few minutes. And other different things that you can check. There are, as you can see, a lot of different areas on here that you can do a lot of different things. Now he's going to enter a comment, well, a call and then a comment, and this will be entered into your log. And most of these contests, the sent and received signal report is 5.9. It's automatically populated. In some cases, the zone, because if you're working a guy in Europe, it might be, or in England rather, he might be in zone 14. Well, everybody in England is in CQ zone 14. So it automatically would populate a G3 call with zone 14. I think we're just going to zip right through this thing. There he just typed in F2YT, and then he would press the space bar, and it would automatically, theoretically, populate that, and apparently it's not going to. Oh well. Let's get out of this thing, and let's open up N1mm logger. And this is what we will see. Okay. So, we have not done anything yet, but we do want to set up a configuration. The first thing is to configure it so it will connect with your radio. Here we have an ICOM 7000. All you have to do is check the type of radio that you have, and there's virtually every radio in the world here. As you can see it, I'm not going to scroll down through all the names. And then you would check to see what kind of modes you're going to work in. You would set up the speed, and it gives you the recommended settings down here at the bottom. For this ICOM radio, you'd say, okay, we're going to set that up. Here we're going to operate single operator, 1 VFO. You can do single operator, 2 VFOs, or single operator, 2 radios, which I've not done. You have a list of function keys, and these are pre-coded here for end of QSO, F3, my call, F4, and so far. You can check these different things that you might like. I happen to like the way it's set up right here. And so in digital modes, well, you'd have to set this up, and we haven't done that yet. And most of these other things, you just follow down through here and set it up the way you want to, according to your station. And then you have your sound card devices and so on. So basically, this is how you would communicate between your radio and other devices and the program. So once you get that set up, and you say, well, what are these other windows? What was this band map he was talking about? Well, this is a band map. We're just going to move this thing up here so we can see it. Okay, a band map is exactly what we're seeing. If you can see my radio here, it says 14280 point something, and I want to change the frequency. And I believe the radio just changed to 14279, did it not? Look at that, 14279.06. Now I can also turn the dial on the radio and notice how the band map is following right along with the radio. So what would happen is, if you have, let's say I want to work W1AW. So I would type it in W1AW, and by golly, it's a 5.9 report. So I'm not going to transmit since I don't have an antenna, but gee whiz, I didn't get W1AW. He didn't hear me. So I'm going to tune off so I can hear somebody else. Now you see what it did? It populated the screen and said, that station is there. I did not work them because it's in bold red, red meaning a multiplier. In this little contest, well, this is a D-expedition we have set up here, it would count as a multiplier. So over here, I'm going to work K9PY, and he's 5.9 also. But I do work him, so I'm going to log him. Okay, he appeared up in my log. This is the running log up here at the top. This is the bottom part is the number of times I've actually worked K9PY, which of course now will be 1 on one band. But did you notice over here, K9PY is now a light gray. It shows that, yeah, he's on that frequency, and I worked him, but he's a light gray, so I can't work him anymore. But now W1AW is what? It's blue. It's not a multiplier anymore because I just worked a USA station. Okay? So I can click on W1AW, it populates this, and now I do work W1AW. I'm going to log it, and now he appeared in the log at the top. At the bottom, I only worked him once, and he turned light gray over here also. Now let's turn down the frequency a little bit, and we're going to work G3SWH. By golly, he's a 5.9, but I don't work him either. Lo and behold, I tune off his frequency. It's still right there. So here, I'm going to work G1SRE. Oops. Got to click over here first. G1SRE. And naturally, he's a 5.9. I'm going to log him. And now, G3SWH again turns blue. So the idea is that this would keep a running track of who you're working, who you didn't work, but you wanted to. So now we can look at another window, and let's see. Here's a check. This is a really neat window. This is where you can check the call and see if it is really kind of a known call. And let's write in W1AW again. Well, we know W1AW is a good call. Notice it's gray up here, means we worked it. But if it might be another iteration of W1AW, like W2AW, W1JAW, you can see they're all listed down through here in the most likely probable way that they would appear. So we know that we don't want to work W2AW. I was wrong. It's W1AF. So all you do is click on that, and it populates your logging window up here also. And so I can log this guy just like that. I don't even have to, because we know right now that all the report's going to be 5.9. So it automatically populated up with 5.9. Another window that you might want, let's say the info window. This is a pretty cool window too. This shows see, let's get this a little bit out of the way here. This screen is definitely not big enough for what we're doing. As you, excuse me, as you can see, you need a large monitor, because you got a lot of things going on here. Okay, my last QSO was 33 seconds ago, and this picked up from a previous log. My goal is 50 for this hour. Well, there's a red line there showing 50 for the hour. The next goal is 50 for the next hour. I've made 4 Qs, and if I kept up at this rate, I'd make 82 Qs per hour. Excuse me, I have made 4. I could, at this rate, make 82 an hour, which I'm not going to do tonight. Okay, another window. This is pretty cool too. The multiplier, I'm sorry, the multipliers, yeah. Let's do score summary first. We'll move him out of here so you can see him. So we, on 20 meters, there it is. 4 Qs, 4 points, 2 mults, score of 8. 1 mult is worth 2 Qs. And it keeps filling all these windows up as you go through the contest. I want to see one other one here. Let's see. Visible group sheet? No. Well, now that's left over from the old area, which we don't want to get into about group sheets. Let's see. This is what I wanted right here. This is a really cool window, and this is what interfaces with the DX cluster. I don't think we can do that from down here, unfortunately. Maybe we can. I'll try. So this shows that we had a possibility of 5 Qs. We still have one we did not make, G3SWH, which you can see here. And normally, any new Qs would show down here at the bottom. Okay, this is showing mults and Qs. Now we could just, if we said, let's say we move way away from the frequency, well, we do want to work that guy, we would just click on it, and lo and behold, we're back on his frequency. The radio has changed frequency here also. Now, if you say, well, I want to work him with CW, not phone, you would click right here, and now we QSY down to the bottom of the band. Okay, if we want to QSY to 14,272, there's the left. Okay, and so you can just switch back and forth between modes just like that, and you don't have to touch your radio. It's really cool. And if you say, well, I want to go to 14,276, you double click on that, and lo and behold, the radio is on 14,276. Should be. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can get the Telnet window working. I don't know if we can down here or not. The Telnet window is very important. And this is what the Telnet window looks like in the Plus version. You have the different clusters that you can connect to. And every cluster in the world is here, as you can see. I think K9AJ might be, no? K9AJ might be here, might not. It's not. But you can connect to any number of clusters. I like W1PA, so I'm going to see if I can connect to them. And it doesn't look like it likes this internet connection here. Let's try another one. Maybe. No, apparently these clusters are not going to work from down here. That's really too bad. Because I like, well, that may be good. Let's try this. Let's try another cluster. I have no idea what this is.
W9ODD, that's one I think that might use.
W9ODD is another very good one. Thank you. And in the case of like K9AJ, if you wanted to add that in here, you would just simply edit the list and you just add whatever the new cluster is that you wanted. Okay, we'll try W9ODD and see what happens. Okay, this is a filtering area here where you can check the different bands and so on that you want the spots to come in on. I do not want any medium wave spots. I don't want any PSK spots. I just want contest spots. So you would just click contest. And apparently this does not like that. Sorry. No, doesn't like it from here. I don't know what I can do about that. Oh, I know what. I have a feel. This, by the way, is the main N1mm page. And when I was talking to you earlier about what to load, it's up here under Files. There's the full install. This is the problem right here. Okay, what was that thing again?
Yes, and
Sprout?
Sprout.
Okay, good. So under Files, the full install is right here, and this is where we have it. And you would just read down the text here, and then the next thing you would get is the latest updates. And here they are right here, and it tells exactly what's happened. Okay, let's go back to the program here. Let's try to reconnect to that cluster. Come on, baby. I want to do the W9PA though, to show you the difference of this. No? Apparently it won't allow a telnet connection through this network here, which is really unfortunate because it would be really neat to see these spots coming in. Has everybody here used a DX cluster? 1, 2, 3, 4, just about everything. No, not going to work. Well, in any case, we'll just close that. If you were able to use the DX cluster, then all of these, the cluster spots would all appear over here in the available modes and queues. They would also appear over here on the DX window, on your band map rather. Now if you say, well, I turn my radio off, let's say I had a power failure, I accidentally pushed the power button, and turn the radio, and then you'll get a warning up here. Where is it, over here? And you should get a warning here that says, oops, I lost communication with radio number so-and-so. And it didn't come up, but it would normally. So what would happen, once you turn your radio, there it is, it's not responding. So you have a choice of retry or cancel. In our case here, I want to cancel this, but I want to show you something else. As you can see, the frequency is not changed to 7608. You would right-click on your band map. You would go down here to Reset Radios, and it should 268.32, and that should be what the dial reads. So you can always reconnect to your radio if you have a communications failure. So we've had our little contest here, and you say, well, I didn't really set the thing up. Initially, what you would want to do is set up a new log in the database. And that's the database, ham.3 S3DB. Now when this is installed in your PC, it installs in 2 different locations, much different from other programs. You'll find that this appears down under the Windows directory, under Program Files, and you'll see N1mm plus Logger, but you don't want to touch this. You really don't want to touch that, because this has a lot of stuff that you just will not, it's all configuration stuff that you don't want to work with. Where the place you do want to go is under your documents, and there's N1, this is your documents page, N1mm Logger Plus, and look at all this stuff. Now this is your goal files, your function key messages. They give you default function key messages automatically, so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. The databases, you see what that says? Do not use or erase. They mean it. You don't want to touch it. So this is the database we were just using. As you can see, it was, well, I'm sorry, it was this one here at 9:09 p.m. But you don't even have to worry about any of this stuff here at all in the database area. We support files, system files. Here are these user-defined contests, and there are none there right now. But one of the things you want to look at is export files. Well, I don't know what the heck that is, but what I want to do is I'm going to go back into my contest, and I'm done with the contest. It's all over. So I'm going to do this, and I want to generate a Cabrillo file. And okay, this is my exchange. It was 8. I had set that up assisted before. This is all stuff I had set up before. And this is going to be a Cabrillo file. It gives you various, warning messages. But once you click there, that is the actual file that you would want to send in to the contest organizer for your contest. Now this was a de-expedition. I had this set up before, actually preliminary to going down to FS. So that's why it was set up as a de-expedition. But that's all you need for that one. And then you say, well, you mentioned something else about sending it over to my logging program. Well, you want to export, export right here, ADIF to file, and lo and behold, here it is, and we'll go back over to the file and look at it. Okay, here's the Cabrillo file that we just looked at, and lo and behold, here's your ADIF file. Oh no, I don't want to go to the App Store. I want to look at Notepad. Okay, there's a typical ADIF file right there. This is valid right now for going into your regular logging program, whatever that might be. And it gives all the information that's needed. It gives a lot more than what you'll ever use, because you go over here and look how far over it scrolls. But this, again, this is something you don't have to worry about. You don't even need to look at this thing, because this is automatically imported. I should say, this is read by your logging program and imported it, and you should have no reason to even look at this thing other than to know where it is. And it's in that under your documents file, N1mm Logger, export files, and there they are. So, we're just about finished with the contest. Our windows are set. Let's see. Well, these are the different things that you could do during the contest if you wanted to. Oh, here's one. What was my fastest run? Well, I didn't have many runs. 4 Qs, not too good. My off times, well, see this, I started the contest late, and I operated for 17 minutes. But this, if you want to post this information like on 3830, this is where you get it from. Notes, statistics, well, this will give your hourly statistics. You can just play around through this thing and see what there is, but as you can tell, there are a lot of different things to look at in here. I like to show non-workable spots and dupes in the band map. That's spots that I've already worked. I want to know that guy is there. So when I tune across that frequency, I know who it is without having to sit there and wait for him to identify. I know it's that guy because he was calling CQ and I was working at Search and Pounce. Again, this is what we just did. QSY wipes the call out that I had in my logging window, my entry window, and puts the spot on the band map. you can change your, this is the station data. You screwed up. Here we have, this is my current information from Morris. But when I go someplace else, I want to change that. And this is just about it, I think. You've got a CW reader, which I actually have never used. But
They put a reader in there?
yes, sir, they did.
Because they said they were never gonna do that.
Well,
Yeah.
let's go over here on CW, and we're on CW now.
I'll never have a reader in my program.
Where was it, under window? Yeah, CW reader,
Wow.
look at that. Yeah, you get to load up FL Digi, the CW Get program. So anyway, you can do it. It does have CW readers in it. Again, I've never used it. And that's about it. Now this visible dupe, oh, that's the old visible dupe sheet. But what I was going to do is show the mults. Yeah, multipliers by countries and other. Okay. And this, well, because we have nothing here, you really can't, this is not a valid thing to look at, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Hey, John,
Yeah,
could you go through the configuration when you're configuring your modes and radios?
okay, configure,
The ports.
ports, yep,
You know, you have like your radios on, what is it, COM4,
we're COM5.
COM5?
And what I did, initially, I went over here to my control panel, and I looked under system rather. I looked at my device manager,
And look at your COM ports.
and looked at my ports, and there it is, prolific US
Right.
to serial
But
COM port.
Back to the configuration
Yeah.
window. You chose that for CW. You have to open up another COM port for digital and another one for, in other words, you have to have a separate COM port for radio versus,
Well, you need an adapter. So you would need another COM port for a RTTY, an FSK RTTY, or CW generator.
so, because you can click, I know on the Classic, on a given COM port, you can click like radio and CW on the same port, but is that a no-no?
No, that's what you can do right here.
That's what you have there, yep.
So you've got this one and
I can't see it
CW
from
and
back
others.
here, but- So that same port is used for radio, recontrol and CW keying.
Yeah, and you can go down here, well, again, we have no other devices connected, but if we had another COM port connected to the FSK or CW adapter, it would appear as a separate COM port number.
But for one COM port, you can do recontrol and CW keying.
To my knowledge, yes, you
That
can.
looks like what you're doing there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, you do not need a converter to run PSK though. I'm sorry, you can use your audio card to run PSK. And that's where you would set up under these digital modes right here. Sound card, and then what sort of sound card are you using? And then are you going to be AFSK or FSK, and so on. But you can't cover everything in a really short period of time, honestly. It's going to take some time. As you can see here, the MMTTY path, I have already installed MMTTY on this PC for RTTY. So when I set this PC up, I selected it, and I had to find the correct location for MMTTY, which is where it is right there. And it's in a ham sub-database. And then I also have two-tone, which is another RTTY type decoding program. And when you use them both together, it's quite effective for RTTY. I don't know what else I can say. I'm afraid if I say anything more, it's going to just get more confusing. Jerry?
I'll add something that's not real confusing.
Good.
If you have a beam that you have a rotator that's connected up to automatically rotate for you, if you click on, if you have that turned on here, which you can, when you rotate your beam to that beam heading. That's built into the program, the rotor.
Okay, here
It's
it is,
under. Oh, you got it
N1mm
there?
rotor
Yeah.
program,
Yeah,
and it'll start it up. And there it is.
yeah.
And you can turn it to 180 degrees and you stop. But again, this is something else that you have to set up your rotors.
But you mean if you just click on a call sign, it's gonna turn your rotor?
It will.
It
you tell
will
it
if you
to.
want it to.
If you
Yeah, I
want
would
it to.
definitely not want that.
Oh, yeah, if you, but
Oh,
it's
because
your
if you go
choice as to
across-
whether you want it
Oh, I
to.
know, but.
Yeah, but if you're making a serious effort in a contest, you're gonna burn a rotor out of it.
Well, yeah, but
Well,
if
yeah.
it's a serious effort, you're gonna have multiple antennas.
And you're just gonna leave your rotor where it's at.
Right.
Well,
And you
I'm
can
just saying
switch to it.
it's
No, I get it,
available,
yeah,
you know.
So when you set up the rotor, if you set it up, let's say on COM1, look at all the choices you have for rotors.
Yeah.
Like every well, not every
Wow.
possible rotor, but virtually every one is
Anyone
right
that'll
there.
interface.
Yeah. It doesn't work good with your stepper vertical.
But this
That's what
is,
it tunes it though.
But you know, you can do the generals, you can see
So-
there, like if you wanna put it to 180 at least, so you're going into South
yeah.
America, you know what I mean? Just generally point it south.
Sure.
Well,
You
see,
can just do that.
like
too.
this W1AF, heading 80 degrees, long path 261.
Yeah, it
Well,
tells
who
you
cares
right
about
there.
CE3 SFG? Look at that, 164.
Well, it is handy. I've been in multi-multis where you can't hear them short path, so you look up the long path heading and then you do rotate your beam and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear them long path.
Yeah.
You know, it's-
And so
but
this,
generally, you leave your antenna where it's.
Right.
You don't turn your antenna much.
No.
You just go
No.
to the other antenna.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, if the opening's to Europe, you're
Sure.
gonna have it at 45 degrees and
Right.
leave it at that.
okay, so I'm gonna turn that off right now, or else I'm gonna get totally screwed up later. Okay, we won't do that. So, have I confused everybody?
No.
Matt was first.
I've got a question.
Yes,
You said that the DXpeditions use this.
yes.
So if they're using that, how do they integrate that in the DXpedition? They're just logging in your call sign?
Well, no, they will put their DX, let's say we've got two stations going on the DXpedition. They both operate, in my case, TO1E. There's a master station and a slave station. The master station is TO1E, and he'll upload information to Club Log or wherever else. As the other guy on a different band, these two PCs are networked. As the second guy works a multiplier on a different band, it'll appear in the scoring here. As, so instead of saying 14 USB, might say 7 LSB, 7 megahertz LSB. And you would know that's from the second station. And it's also identified, I believe, you can have, if you have it set up properly as a mult station, it would show the name of the station, like mult or main. It would show who actually logged that contact.
In a contest situation, which is what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
not the expedition mode. If you work somebody on a band, it shows you that you need them elsewhere. Let's say like the mult on 20, and you can pass that mult to the guy on 20. Let's say you're on 15, and then you can pass there. I forget what Craig created.
Well, it's called pass.
Craig created an F key to do that. I think it was F10 there. You hit F10 and it automatically passes the mult to the other station.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how comprehensive, you could actually create macros, and when you work this guy, then it shows you need him somewhere else, you hit F10, and it sends a message to the other guy, and well, what it does is it transmits to the guy you just worked, QSY to 20 meters, NCW anyway.
Yeah, it was like.
Well, now you
14
notice
hours.
also here, we worked W1AW before. You see that the phone segment down here turned white, but we could use that guy as a multiplier on 20 meters CW. So this is automatically telling you what bands we would need a USA station as a multiplier. And the same thing with that G station we worked. What was it, G3 SXW, I think. No, it wasn't him. I'd have to look, I've gotta find my log. See, that's the problem with a small screen here. The log. There. It's underneath here somewhere, and I don't know where it is.
Sometimes two screens get
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, yeah.
Let's close this thing up because this is hiding stuff. I'm sorry. It's here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But the bottom line is, it changed it over to a blue, meaning it's a station we could work on 20 meters, but it's not a mult. But it is a mult on 20 on sideband. It is a mult on 20 meters CW. So all these colors actually do mean something. John?
Couple of questions. When you load the program and it asks you what club, does Metro DX have a space or an underline, or is it METRODX with just that way?
No, just Metro, just spell it out, Metro space DX.
There is a
club.
space. Okay.
Yep.
Also, if my machine has the previous version of N1mm, and then you said, identify that you want to do something when you load the plus. After it brings those files up and does it, it's okay then to delete the original N1mm?
You can if you want to.
One-
I kept it there just in case, maybe this new one doesn't do what I want it to do, and I want to go back to the old one. You can always go back to the old one. You
Yeah.
just can't have them both running at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I would save it because when you have to set up the new one, you might wanna refer back to like your digital settings, you know what I mean? What
Okay.
ports you use and stuff
yeah.
like that. Cause I have some
I
people
forget.
that have deleted it and then they're saying, oh my God, I don't remember what was what, you know, so.
And then when choosing a cluster, how do you make that decision? What makes one cluster better than another?
Well, what you would want to do, and I always pick W9ODD, that's University of Wisconsin. It's almost always active, and that station or that cluster, when you log into it, you can see how many people are logged in. And if it says you got 3 people logged in, you say, oh, and you know it's not popular at all. So you'd want to go to another one. I would pick one in this geographic area.
But aren't they all linked together?
Generally, yes.
Yeah. And where do the clusters get their data from? People using programs sending it to the cluster, or?
Well, there are 2 ways. People who are using, and they spot, I can spot K9DRS and such as, and it will pop up in the cluster. And it's propagated amongst all these different nodes. Then they have something called the reverse beacon network, and that's what I wanted to show you tonight. I can't do it. The reverse beacon network is a network that continually monitors CW and RIDI CQs, the letters CQ and the letter test. They're contest programs. But anybody just out there calling CQ, he will be read by these different monitoring stations, and it's a worldwide monitoring system. And they'll all pop up on your screen, and you can see where the monitors are, where the station is being monitored, what their signal strength is at that station, and so forth. That's the RBN. That's that W9PA-4 that I have. That has a combination of reverse beacon network spots, these automated spots, and the ones that people just generally do by themselves. But the reverse beacon network, again, is only CW and RIDI, not sideband. So if you're in a sideband contest, you forget that, because it's just going to clutter everything up.
And I think I mentioned this before, but that is a really cool tool. One time, we were doing a CW contest, John was calling CQ, and I was calling CQ, and I think he must have been BB Europe. But I wanted to see the signal reports for his station in Europe versus mine. I have a vertical, he's got a beam. So I typed in John's call sign to the RBN, and it showed, in Germany he was 20 over or whatever. typed in my calls and I'm like 10 under. But it kinda gives you, and it's real time. So,
That's just on CW though, right?
yeah, or
And
really.
really,
But it gives you a really good, comparison when you wanna see who's getting, I suppose if you were running 20 kilowatts, you could see who's cheating. But I don't know if you could.
Looks like Phil Snyder had a lightning strike tonight.
Did he?
His 2-meter 440 vertical is in his neighbor's backyard.
Oh, no.
Knocked it right off the tower.
Oh.
Well, maybe the wind knocked it off the tower too.
Wow.
No. No, it was on the top, it's a vertical, it was on the very top of the tower,
He just texted you?
apparently, yeah.
Oh, boy.
220?
2-meter, I'm sorry, 2-meter 440.
Oh,
Yeah.
Couldn't get your electric to turn on.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't get this cluster business working tonight. I really, really had wanted to do
Yeah,
that for you.
that's deep.
Wow.
I assume this is still connected. Yes, it is. So I don't know what else to do.
Wonder why it's not working.
I
Because
know.
you're on the internet, right?
Yeah, that's kinda weird.
Well,
John, what, I don't know, I use DX Heat and W3 LPL.
okay, yeah.
I mean, I can pull it up right here.
Yeah, but that's an internet connection there, and this is a telnet connection.
Oh.
And those they're treated differently. W3LPL, is he on here?
I don't know,
No. See, it's not on here as a telnet connection. So it's just a different method of getting it to that station.
Oh, is he?
And it just, I don't know why. I really don't know why. I wish I could answer that.
He could basically, that's neat.
Well, what's he saying? Well, anyway, no, we can't do that. John's another question?
I'm good.
You good? Have I confused everybody?
Can I ask you a question about I know when they first started, like the original version, their QSO party stuff was very poorly supported.
It's not that way anymore.
Okay.
Let's say you want to set up a QSO party. You set up a new log in the database, and you say, well, it's not a de-expedition, it's a QSO party. So we get on here to QSO party. Okay, so then you say, well, what QSO party is it? Then you can choose the state down here. And let's say we're going to set up for the Illinois QSO party.
That's way beyond where it was last time I messed with this.
And
I
that's-
went back to right log because of.
Yeah, but and the whole thing is right here.
Yeah.
Show the rules,
They just
and look at that.
stated
It goes right to the rules page for the QSO party. It's really, it really works well. And then there's edit the section list. And there's all the sections in Illinois. Look at that.
This is a young guy that wrote this, right?
Pardon me?
The guy that wrote this, he's a pretty young guy.
I don't know.
I mean, what did he do he had to do something to make money.
Well,
He's not making-
let's look him up and see what it is. Can we look at, yeah, N1mm, Tom Wagner, we know that. We know he lives in Connecticut.
He's got a lot of help too, a lot of
Okay,
guys.
there's his bio right here.
Wow.
Huh. Okay,
Well,
anyway,
Now, when using this program, what's the fine line between assisted and not assisted?
if you use the Telnet cluster, any cluster, that is assisted. There's a lot of controversy about what constitutes assisted, but anybody that calls you on the phone, that's assistance. If you get somebody, if Barry calls you on 2 meters, say, hey, work so-and-so, that's assistance.
they got algorithms too for checking your log, like if
Oh, yeah,
all of a sudden if a spot comes up for, a JA1BK and you work them you're running on 14, say 220, and all of a sudden QSY, right after the spot to 250, to work that spot, you come back, they have ways of knowing that. So,
I think they showed what they're capable of doing now with, this last fiasco worldwide. Now
Oh,
going back 5 or 6
The
years.
guy down in the Caribbean?
Yeah.
what was that all about?
Well, that was, he
Oh,
was,
they were panning logs and,
Oh, really?
oh yeah,
logging stations
He
that weren't
logged
even
like-
operating.
50 or 60 stations on 160 meters.
And they weren't on the
People
air,
weren't
and
even
it was
on
the
air.
wrong time of day.
They
It
don't
was-
operate 160
They,
meters.
they spent a lot of time on log checking.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it's
and-
all computerized now.
yeah,
Just write programs that know how to.
Yeah.
well, and then there are two things that, you should do also is they have a thing called a super check partial. And this is, it's a program, actually it's a database type thing.
Is that considered assisted?
Well, that's a good
No.
question.
I don't think
It's-
so.
It's
It's
not-
debated, they're saying no right now, but you got some of them that are saying,
Holy cow.
yeah, it's assisted.
Now, see, this is not a text file. Yeah, these are all data files and they're not text. But actually what you do is you'd import this, you save the link as master.dta under support files. So you'd automatically select N1mm logger plus support files, master.dta, I'm gonna save it there. So now, what happens when you go over here to N1mm? Let's say we're gonna type K9CT. Well, look at that. All these possible files came up,
Probably CJ did too.
K9CT. Well, I don't want CT, I want K9CJ. Is he in, oh, look at that, there's K9CJ right there. So he's part of this. And he's 599, how about that?
Well, and this is based on people that work a lot of contests.
Well,
They
there are
build
data
this
files that are
database.
contest specific too. You can get one, like for sweepstakes, there's a database file just for sweepstakes.
Right.
You know, these are active sweepstakers, not CQ Worldwide.
This was all contests, all,
But you can zero in on a certain group of contesters, you
Mhm.
can send as your super check partial.
but one of the neat things is down here at the bottom, in this check log, this will check your log and see if you work this guy. And so we'll type in W1AW again, because we know we worked him in this contest. And you can see that he's over here, we worked him. That's the check log. In the master database, he's contained there. Well, in the telnet, there's nothing there, there's nothing in these columns because telnet is not working here. But normally, if he had been spotted somewhere else, it would pop up in these other columns also. And this would verify to me that it's a valid call, W1AW. I'm not trying to work IW1AWH, this guy here. But it could be. But this would help verify who you're actually working. And it's not assisted right now. But there is a controversy about that. Anybody else? Are you confused? Are you going to use it? Yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, all right. It's a great program.
It
It
is.
really, really is.
It's really a good program.
Well, John, thank you for doing this. I know
Well,
you got a lot of preparation.
do I want to exit? Yeah, I do. It's always better when these things work, and that one just really didn't. So.